In this true crime documentary, we uncover the twisted case of 20 years old Shelley Nance.
We're on the highway and about 200 miles from our destination in the mountains, and phone reception was really bad. And she said, "Your daughter's been found in blood." And then the phone went dead, and I'd lost reception at that point. I was asking him, what does that mean?
Our story today takes us to a quiet Texas town called Italy, a place whose name looks just like the country Italy. But here, locals let the letters roll off their tongue in a softer way. This town is small, with barely more than 2,000 people, and in a place where everyone seems to know each other, one family stood at its heart. The Nance family, made up of Sam and Cynthia, and their 3 daughters Rachel, Shona, and Samantha Shelley, or simply Shelley, as almost everyone called her. On the morning of September 10th, 2009, Sam and Cynthia stepped out of their home and set off in their car, ready for a journey that would stretch more than 1,300 miles toward Yellowstone National Park, where they planned to spend quiet days away from everything. While the couple had made a tradition of trips like this each year, this one felt different. For the first time in nearly 20 years, they were traveling without their 3 daughters, who were now adults, busy with their own lives and responsibilities. As the miles began to pass beneath them, Cynthia sent a message to the girls letting them know they had left Texas and that they loved them. But only 2 replies would ever come. Rachel and Shona responded, yet Shelley remained silent. At first, it seemed like nothing unusual. After all, Shelley often stayed up until dawn, lost in her world of art and animation, studying at the Art Institute of Dallas. She had won scholarships worth $13,000 through her exceptional drawings, and her parents knew how devoted she was to her work. But what they could never have known was that at almost the same moment, their daughter was enduring a savage attack in her sleep, struck more than 40 times in what would become one of the strangest cases Dallas had ever seen. Not because of the brutality alone, but because of who was ultimately revealed to be behind it. The following morning, while Sam and Cynthia continued their 36-hour drive, Cynthia grew more concerned and called the school, asking if someone could check on her daughter. She explained that Shelley had not answered any call since the previous night. Hours later, administrators managed to reach Shelley's roommate, Ashley Alvera, who assured them that she had seen Shelley the day before and promised she would head home to get her to call back. That brief message was passed along to the parents, who were by then 200 miles from Yellowstone, and it brought them a fragile sense of relief. Or at least, that is what they thought. Because less than 30 minutes later, Ashley would unlock the apartment at 9028 Markville Drive in Dallas. She walked toward Shelley's room, knocked gently on the door, and then stepped inside. There she found her friend, lying on the bed, covered by a blanket, and surrounded by a sea of blood. And from that moment forward, a web of confusion, secrets, and suspicion began to unfold, leaving investigators to face a question that would consume them. Who could possibly have done this? When police officers and paramedics stepped into the apartment, they found Shelley lying motionless on her bed. The scene was overwhelming. Red stains covered the room, and the young woman in her 20s had fallen to a merciless attack. Detective Elsie arrived soon after, and later admitted that in 36 years of working in law enforcement, he had never seen anything as grim. There was, however, something personal for him. He was the father of 2 daughters close to Shelley's age, and that made his determination to uncover the truth feel like more than duty. It became a mission fueled by emotion, and it explained the edge in his approach during the investigation that would follow later in this video. The first thing Elsie noticed was that the condition of the body suggested Shelley had been gone for more than 24 hours. This detail clashed directly with what Ashley had told school officials when she claimed she had seen her the previous day. To Elsie, it was the first sign that something about her story did not align. There were no broken doors, no shattered windows, no trace of forced entry anywhere inside the apartment. This meant that whoever entered was either someone Shelley trusted or someone who had managed to obtain a key. Forensic experts soon joined the scene, collecting fingerprints and DNA samples. But to their frustration, nothing unusual turned up. Every print, every trace belonged only to Shelley. As paramedics prepared to transport her to the medical examiner, one of them spotted something almost invisible. A tiny scrap of blue plastic pressed against her wrist. At first, they thought it might have fallen from the gloves officers wore at the scene. They nearly dismissed it entirely. But Elsie insisted no one had touched the body before, and that detail shifted everything. The fragment was sealed as evidence and sent to the lab. Other than a small bloodstain in the bathroom, nothing else of value seemed to be left. It looked as if the intruder had taken their time, either to clean or to erase nearly every trace. While the crime lab struggled to uncover a lead, Elsie built a theory in his mind. The number of wounds suggested rage. The lack of forced entry suggested familiarity. Together it pointed to someone close to Shelley, and that left him with one name at the start of the trail: Ashley Olvera. She was the one who discovered the body. She had a key to the apartment, and most troubling, she had lied about seeing Shelley the day before, only later admitting that she had not. She had lived just feet away from her roommate for nearly a full day without speaking to her. She had ignored a faint but visible stain of blood in the sink. Elsie could not ignore the possibilities. Perhaps the two young women were drawn to the same man and jealousy had turned dangerous. Or perhaps their bond was far more personal and had ended in a disaster no one expected. And if so, what truth would be revealed when Ashley finally faced questions she could not avoid?
I saw her feet and she wasn't moving. So I turned on the light and I said, "Hey, Shelley, are you okay? Why are you moving?" So I went and I shook her in her bed.
Was she covered up?
Originally the blanket was on
So you
her.
shake her, put a blanket over her.
Yes, sir.
She don't move, she don't wake up. You pull the cover off of her, shake her again.
I saw the blood and I touched her arm and she was cold. And
As soon as you see that one,
I believe, I don't know how many times.
I don't see how you can miss that big blood right here on the sink. I don't see how you can miss that. I don't see how you can miss this big deal of blood right here on the bathtub. I don't see how you can miss it all on the trash can. How do you do that?
I didn't see the trash can, but I remember seeing the little spots of blood on the sink
When did you see that?
when I was leaving for school.
When? What day?
Today.
And you still didn't even think to knock on the door.
No, sir.
Because they, hey, Steph, you cut yourself, you hurt, you injured, you need something? That's
No.
weird, man.
I know it is. I'm telling you everything I know. I mean, Ellie was my roommate. She was my friend. She is my friend. I went to school together. There's no reason why I would harm her.
I really believe that something terrible happened between you and Shelley that you're not telling me. I need to know what happened. I have to have an explanation as to what happened. You're the only one that can tell me.
I know, and I'm telling you the truth.
Actually, I don't believe you, honey.
I know.
I believe you. I believe you. You got her in the stab, didn't
No, I did not.
you? You did. I just need to know why you did it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you did. I can prove you did. Something made you snap.
It didn't hurt her. I'm looking you straight in the eyes, sir.
Nobody else could have did it. Nobody else could have did it. Nobody. This looked terrible for you.
Oh my God.
This looks terrible, terrible, terrible for you.
Ashley insisted that she was telling the truth and clung to her version of events, saying that she had no reason to wish harm upon Shelley. She explained that on the day before the tragedy, she had been with friends, and when she returned home, she went straight to sleep before leaving again at 9 in the morning. As investigators continued to dig into Ashley's movements over the 48 hours before the discovery of the body, every claim she made began to line up with reality. Eventually, authorities became convinced that she was not involved. But Ashley did not walk away without adding crucial information. The first thing she told detectives was that they might want to speak to Shelley's boyfriend, Nathan Shuck. On the surface, he seemed shy and withdrawn. Yet according to Ashley, when he was pushed to anger, he transformed into someone entirely different.
One of my friends was saying, he's like, I never would want to see Nathan angry, and I asked him why, and they said, have you ever seen him play a video game? He kind of just pops if he doesn't get something.
The second detail was even more valuable. Ashley explained that she had left the apartment around 9 in the morning on September 10th, the very same morning that Shelley's parents had started their long journey. Forensic records later showed that Shelley had been awake until 6 that morning, working at her computer. Ashley returned at 3 in the afternoon. Based on this and the autopsy results, investigators concluded that the attack had taken place within that narrow window between 9 and 3, while Shelley slept after her long night awake. What made this timeline so unsettling was what it revealed. Ashley had spent the entire night inside the apartment after the attack had already happened, without realizing that her roommate lay lifeless just a few feet away. Investigators turned their attention to Nathan Shuck, wanting to know the true nature of his relationship with Shelley. What they uncovered was unlike anything they expected. The two of them were 20 years old, living on their own. And to anyone looking from the outside, they should have been a typical couple. Yet friends all knew something unusual. Shelley and Nathan had never even shared a kiss. Their friends would tease them, saying that nothing had changed. Before they dated, they played video games and watched movies. After they started dating, they still played video games and watched movies. When detectives spoke with Shelley's mother, she confirmed what they had already begun to suspect. Shelley had always been shy. Nathan was the first person in her life. She was still untouched in that way. This conversation took place over the phone only moments before Nathan walked into the interrogation room. For Detective Elsie, the theory at that moment was simple. He believed Nathan might have tried to push the relationship further. When Shelley refused, he lashed out in rage. And to Elsie, there was something even more troubling. Nathan's online profile was filled with images of ninjas and swords, which Elsie read as a dark signal that the young man might be capable of taking a life. So when Nathan sat down across from him, the very first question waiting was not about alibis or timelines. It was about intimacy.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah.
Shelley a virgin? To your knowledge? Y'all ever discuss sexual intercourse? Never. She's been in your bedroom before with the light off.
Yeah.
What do y'all do?
We were sitting there playing video games.
Never tried anything sexual with her? She never tried anything sexual with you? You kiss her?
Oh, yeah, no.
You never kissed her. She's your girlfriend 2 months. You never kissed her. Why? It was weird.
It was my first girlfriend.
Nathan's answers did not convince Detective Elsie. He felt there was something missing. So he asked Nathan to remove his shirt, wanting to see if there were any marks on his body that might reveal the struggle. Elsie knew there had been no defensive wounds on Shelley's body, yet he refused to overlook even the smallest possibility. Nathan complied, and there were indeed faint scratches on his chest.
Then turn back around and look at me. How do you get these scrapes right here? Them scratches.
Oh, I usually scratch myself.
His explanation was odd, and it only deepened the detective's unease. To Elsie, the strange responses seemed to mirror the unusual nature of Nathan's entire relationship with Shelley. At that very moment, a call came through from Cynthia. She told the detective something that pierced through the uncertainty. Shelley had confided in her mother that she felt the relationship with Nathan was not normal. She had said it was nothing like the bond of a real boyfriend and girlfriend. She had even decided to end things. When Elsie returned to the interrogation room, armed with this new piece of truth, he looked at the young man in front of him, and for the first time, he was certain. In his mind, he was no longer facing a shy, awkward student. He was staring at the person he believed had taken Shelley's life.
Shelley told her mom that she told you y'all was free.
No.
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
Her mama told me that, sir. I talked to her mom. Don't call me a damn liar. I just talked to her mama. Her mama, Shelley told her mom that y'all didn't have nothing in common and that it was over, that it was through.
She never said that.
You something else. You're a damn psychopath. Are you like Voodoo and La La Land that's not registered to you?
Nothing makes sense. I'm just waiting to wake up.
That's right. You're waiting to wake up. Now, what'd you do with the knife?
I wasn't there.
Nathan, you're
I
damn liar.
didn't do anything
You're
with
damn
the
liar.
knife.
Yeah, you did.
When Nathan first heard that Shelley had planned to leave him, it was as much a shock to him. Later that day, the autopsy report arrived and confirmed there had been no intimate assault, or even an attempt at one. This single detail shattered Detective Elsie's theory entirely. Yet what made things even more complicated was Nathan's willingness to cooperate. He agreed to give a DNA sample. He even allowed investigators to search his apartment without a warrant. He told them he had not seen Shelley in days and that most of the previous week had been spent with his family. On Thursday morning, he said his roommate had dropped him off at the institute where he studied until 4 in the afternoon. As they drove toward his apartment, Elsie began to doubt his own suspicions. If Nathan was guilty, then what would his motive be if he did not know about the breakup? And why would he be so open to giving DNA and inviting them into his home? The final answer seemed to rest on his alibi, because every hallway of the Art Institute was covered by cameras. If he was truly there when he claimed, then he could not have been the one. At least that is what everyone thought until they stepped inside his apartment. The moment investigators entered, they saw something that did not fit the shy image of the young student. Knives and swords lined the room, a strange collection that felt at odds with his quiet personality. But the true shock was waiting in the bathroom. There inside a plastic bag were dark red stains that looked like human blood. Nathan swore he had never seen the bag before. He claimed it was not there when he used the bathroom that morning. But to the investigators, the story made no sense. The bag was seized and sent to the lab. And in that instant, Nathan fell silent and asked for attorney. For Elsie, all of the doubts he had moments earlier were erased. He was certain again that Nathan was their prime suspect. But the investigation was far from over, because soon new information would once more change the entire direction of the case. After Nathan stopped talking, the detectives focused on piecing together his movements. They questioned his classmates and friends, yet one name kept surfacing again and again. A man close to Nathan, his roommate Daniel William. Daniel was 26 years old, also a student at the institute, and so he was brought in for routine questioning about Nathan's movement.
And he was in school from what time to what time? I don't know. What time did you pick him up Thursday?
I picked him up around 10. Kinda have like a bad mood or something.
So why did he tell you?
Right before I went to sleep, I heard him crying in his room.
So was he crying for? Do you know that? Did you approach him with that?
And outside the door, I asked him, like, are you okay? He was like, yeah. I was like, why? Because I heard you crying. I was like, no. But his face was red because, like, you know, when people cried, their faces are red. I said,
Did he tell you why he was crying?
I don't know if he is or not, because he said he's not.
He looks upset.
Yeah.
I mean, you had lived with this guy for so long that you know that, you know, obviously something's bothering.
Before the interview ended, he was asked about his movements.
From Starbucks, I went, that's when I texted Ashley if she wants to go eat lunch. From there, I went to White Rock Lake because I was supposed to take a picture, but I forgot to bring my camera for an assignment. And from there, I went to my friend's place.
And you forgot your camera, so you went to whose house?
Jessica Howard.
What time did you get there?
Around 12:30ish, but she wasn't home.
Daniel explained that when he picked Nathan up that evening, he seemed upset and restless. To investigators, this looked like confirmation that Nathan was their main suspect. But everything shifted when the institute cameras told a different story. The review proved that Nathan had arrived at the campus in his mother's car. He spent hours in the library until 4 in the afternoon and remained on campus until 10 at night when Daniel came to pick him up. This detail destroyed the foundation of the case. It was impossible for Nathan to have been the one, and if not him, then who? And a darker question followed. Who had not only ended Shelley's life, but planted a bag stained with her blood in Nathan's apartment to make him look guilty? Detectives were forced to abandon every theory they had built and ask something new. Who could enter Nathan's home without breaking a door or window? Just as Ashley had once been their first focus, now the light turned to Daniel William. They revisited his timeline. He had said he went to Starbucks, then sent messages to Ashley, who was also his friend. Then he claimed he went to White Rock Lake to study for a test, because he was a student in the photography department at the same institute, but had forgotten his camera. Later he said he stopped by the home of a classmate, Jessica Howard, though she was not there. Investigators realized they had never pressed him on critical details. For example, what was the address of Jessica? Why sit at the lake without a camera? His story suddenly looked full of gaps, and those gaps were about to become the cracks that opened everything. To understand Daniel, investigators needed to know his past. He had come to the United States as a teenager with his family from Indonesia. He had once worked as a pastry chef in the U.S. Navy, but was removed after psychological concerns. During service, he had confessed to a psychiatrist that he sometimes feared losing control. He admitted that when angry he could imagine using knives or boiling oil against his superiors. Another time, he flew into a frenzy and destroyed his brother's room with a samurai sword, later claiming he had no memory of what he had done. But the most revealing details came from friends who described his bond with Nathan. They said Nathan was not independent and relied on Daniel for everything. He cooked for him, cleaned for him, did his laundry, and drove him everywhere because of his fear of driving. He even woke him each morning so he would not miss class. When detectives asked Nathan directly, he admitted that Daniel was like a motherly figure in his life. But to everyone else outside, it looked different. It looked like a romantic relationship. Witnesses told police that Daniel was troubled when Nathan started seeing Shelley. He complained openly, saying they spent too much time together and that it might hurt Nathan's grades. And when investigators asked Cynthia if she had ever heard of Daniel, she said the name was familiar. Shelley had mentioned him. She had told her mother that he acted strangely and became upset if he was not included when she and Nathan went out together. With this new information, detectives called Daniel back. They needed to know where he truly was between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon on September 10th.
10:15 to 10:20, you leave Starbucks. Where do you go?
To White Rock Lake.
Okay. Specifically at White Rock Lake. Where?
Well, I went to Walmart first, then White Rock Lake.
Okay. You can't leave that out. So you go straight from Starbucks to Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
How long? What did you do at Walmart?
I got a hair dye,
Okay.
soap,
What?
and gloves to color my hair.
You get back in your car. Where do you go?
I went to the falls to go to my friend's house, Jessica Howard.
Why did you leave that part out?
Because I was mugged over there, sir.
You tell me a damn thing about getting robbed. You know why? Because that's bull. You didn't get robbed. The robbery never happened. That's what you did, son, is put yourself right there at that complex when that little girl was killed. That's exactly what you did. I didn't do anything. Yeah, you did. You killed that girl. You took a knife and you stabbed her. I want to know why you did it. I didn't do it. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You killed that girl, man. You killed her. You stabbed her and you killed her. I did not do it. You did. Yes, you absolutely did. All I want to do is hear the truth. I know what the evidence is going to tell me. Remember looking like that? That's your handiwork. That's what she looked like when you finished with her. Look at her. Don't cover your face. Look at her. That's what you did to her. That's what you did to her. That's her mom and daddy had to look at. What do you think about that? Look at this. Look at it. Think about the last words she said. Think about the last thing you heard that girl say before she took her last breath. You think about it. How can you live with yourself? Take your damn hand away from your eyes and look at me. Tell me how you treat a girl like that. Tell me how you do that. How can you despise a human being that bad? She never did nothing to you. How could you hate that girl so much?
I didn't.
You hate her enough to kill her over a dude?
I didn't.
You hate her that much, that she took Nathan away from you that much, that she caused you so much problems in your personal relationship, that the only answer was to kill her. That's it.
After the interview with Daniel ended, the investigators went to Walmart. Surveillance cameras showed that he was there and had actually purchased hair dye and gloves. The investigators managed to obtain his receipt and bought the same gloves. When tested, they matched the plastic piece found at the crime scene. But one question still remained. How did he get into Shelley's apartment?
You know, he made a copy of it?
No, but now that if the possibility is there, that's the only time I ever had an answer.
Strangely enough, the answer would once again come from Ashley. To close the story exactly where it began, Ashley told investigators that a month earlier Daniel had borrowed her car. She explained that she kept her apartment key on the same keychain with her car key. That meant Daniel had access. With this, the investigators finally had the means, the method, and the motive. Daniel's trial began in November 2011, where the defense tried to shift the blame onto Nathan, but the prosecution focused on the evidence that directly implicated him. In the end, the jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 30 years. To this day, he continues to serve his sentence while insisting that he was framed in the case. I just want to say thank you to each of you. In 2 months, this channel went from 1,000 to 5,800 subscribers, and that's only because of your support. I really appreciate you being here. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from.